Hey, what's up guys, Ben Milliken here, back for Carl's Mystery Tackle Box. You know, when it's hot outside in the summer, a lot of times it gets really tough, but I have some baits that I can use that can consistently catch fish day in and day out whenever the conditions are really tough, and in a wide variety of different types of lakes, reservoirs, streams, wherever you may be fishing. So in today's video, I'm going to show you 3 of my favorite go-to techniques to get bites during the summer, including this funky, weird looking guy that catches so many fish for me. You don't want to miss this one. All right, so first bait we're going to talk about that I use almost every single day in the summer to help me catch more fish, so I can catch fish for videos and make awesome fishing videos over on Milliken Fishing on my channel, is the wingding. Now, a lot of people refer to this as the flick shade rig. I call it the wingding. I don't know, it looks kind of like a wingding, I suppose. But I catch so many fish on this bait. The simple mechanics of this bait, basically, it's a weighted wacky rig. So you got your typical 5-inch stick worm, you got a wide gap little hook, it's a finesse hook, it's nice and light wire, and then you got a weighted jig head on this. So that's about a, I don't know, it's a 3/16 ounce jig head. I like to put a 5-inch Biospawn Exo stick on this guy, or any other 5-inch stick bait. A lot of people use this as a finesse technique, but let me show you how I like to use this rig. So like I was saying, a lot of people use this as a finesse rig, kind of start off with like a really clean water, natural, little tiny worm type presentation. Well, around where I live, we don't have a lot of clean water, but for whatever reason, this guy still works. And so I use it very simply with a bigger 5 or 6 inch worm. I throw it on casting gear, I throw it on 10 or 12 pound fluorocarbon line, and I fire it out around stuff that looks like what you're looking like in the background right here. This is a dam right here, has a nice taper to it. Anytime I have some rock, man-made rock especially, we have a ton of it in our area. It seems kind of goofy, but I catch so many fish on this little flick shake rig. How to fish it, you know, this is super simple rig to fish. You cast it out, you let it go to the bottom, pop it up 3 or 4 times off the bottom, pa-pow. Usually that's when they're gonna eat it. If it's not a pa-pow, if you don't feel a tick or anything, it's gonna be swimming off to the side. You can fish it nice and effectively. It fishes faster than a regular wacky rig. And one more tip is, don't be afraid to throw this thing offshore on hard spots, rock piles, wherever. Even if the water's muddy, it's a great tool to catch fish that are really tough, or catch fish that have gotten turned off to your bigger, louder, more noisy presentations. Get out and throw the flick shake in here and catch some daggum fish. All right, well, if you don't have a lot of natural rock, no worries here, because the next 2 presentations work extremely well around what you see right back behind me, and that is grass, lily pads, whatever it may be. Awesome baits. The first one we're going to start with is what I start with low light conditions in the morning. My favorite bait to throw on grass lines in the summer, and that is the old popper. Just a little tiny popper guy, but let me tell you guys how I catch more fish than just about any other topwater using this bait. So something you got to keep in mind in the summer is a lot of these bait fish are extremely small. They just hatched in May or June, and so they're not big, although I do catch them on big swim baits and stuff. When the water is not clean, when you just have grass lines first thing in the morning and that water's super slick calm, my absolute favorite way to catch them is on a popper, a little tiny popper. You can work it slow and methodically. That's exactly how I like to work it. I don't give it a whole lot of action, just a very simple twitch, and you're just gonna let it sit there, let it sit there and look like a little dying, injured bait fish. It's a great way to catch a ton of different fish. The way I like to throw it though, that's a little bit different than a lot of people, is I actually like to fish this guy on spinning tackle, small spinning tackle. A lot of times when you're fishing in the summer, it's slick calm. You want to make a really long presentation, a nice long cast to get out away from the fish. If you're in a boat, or even if you're from the bank, when it's really calm out, you want to have the lowest impact as possible on those fish so they don't know that you're there. And making long casts is absolutely key. Now with this smaller 1/4 ounce size topwater popper, you're gonna have a whole lot of trouble doing that with the bait casting rig. And so, you know, simply use 15-20 pound braid, a nice 6/6 rod, so it's a lot easier to keep the rod tip down and twitch it. And I get to work with that. You fish it nice and slow and methodically. Long pauses, bloop, pause. I want to catch that guy. All right, so last but not least, the bait I like to throw, you know, when you just need to flat out get bites in the summer, bites of all different size fish, is the old swim jig. If you watch videos on my channel, you know I use this bait pretty much every single video. It's extremely effective. It catches a ton of fish, and it's not difficult to throw. Anyone can literally pick up a swim jig and go out and catch fish on it. Let me show you how I like to fish it. I seriously can't stress to you guys the ease and effectiveness of throwing a swim jig. Basically, you're gonna cast it out on a weed edge, or I mean, if you don't even have grass in your area, if you have hardcover, stuff like that, just gonna let it sink down a couple seconds, and you're simply going to reel it in. When it gets grass on it, you're gonna pop your rod tip, and a lot of times you're gonna get a reaction strike like that, but it's extremely simple bait to throw, and it's probably my most effective bait to throw as well in shallow water. A lot of people watching this are probably huge fans of the chatterbait and the spinnerbait. I don't blame you, those catch a ton of fish as well. But in the summer, even in dirtier watercolors, for whatever reason, this guy is just, it's so much more natural. It gets so many more bites for me than those two baits. But especially I like to throw it when we have a little bit better water clarity. You know, spinnerbaits and chatterbaits work really well because they give off a lot of vibration, so they work well in muddy water. Swim jig will work well in slick, calm water, clean water, just about anything up to 4, 5, 6 foot visibility. I feel confident that I can outfish a chatterbait or a spinnerbait for the most part. You know, as far as the equipment I like to throw this guy on, I throw it on a longer rod. I like a 7.3 or a 7.5 heavy action, more of a moderate taper rod. Always a bait caster, always a 7-to-1 gear ratio reel, and a 15-pound line seems to really be the sweet spot. Unless I'm fishing around really nasty brush piles or docks or something, then I might bump it up to 17 or 20, but 15 seems to absolutely be the sweet spot for me. One more thing I do want to talk about with the swim jig is the bite. It's a different type of bite for the most part than about any other bait you're going to throw. You know, with the swim jig, I don't know if it's because it's natural or just the way the fish track it or what, but every single bite, it seems like, is going to be a tick. It's going to throw a little bit of slack in the line, and then the fish is going to swim sideways with it. When you feel that tick, if you set the hook, you lose the majority of the fish that bite it. It's a really weird phenomenon. Basically, all you're gonna do is, when you feel that tick, just keep reeling really slow, let that fish kind of peel off to the side with it, and then just kind of lean into them like a Carolina rig hook set or something, and reel as fast as you can at the same time. And like 95% of the time, that keeps them pinned. And that's why it's a super effective bait, is you catch the large majority of the fish that bite, which you can't say with a lot of baits in the summer. Anyways, try the swim jig out, you're gonna catch a lot more fish. That's all I got for you guys today. You know, those 3 different presentations I just showed you are day in and day out some of my favorites to catch fish in about any situation during the summer. Pick up the flick shake rig whenever you're on man-made rock cover, and whenever you're around the grass, the outside grass lines, pads, stuff like that, in the morning go for a popper, and any other time of the day in the morning, throw the swim jig, and I can about guarantee you're gonna get your arm about torn off. Anyways, thanks for watching this, guys. I'll catch you very soon. I'm out of here. Peace.